Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking a trip to Fresno, California. We're going to look at a really creative solution to a tough problem. How do you possibly heal from a hospital stay when you don't have a home to go back to? It's a huge question, and we're about to explore how one single property is being totally reimagined to answer it. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we need to understand the exact problem this project is trying to fix. Then, we'll get into the history of this property and its new purpose. We'll define exactly what this new solution is, and then, most importantly, we'll look at the real-world impact this has on patients and for the entire Fresno community. So, first things first, let's really set the stage here, talk about a major gap in our healthcare system, one that, honestly, most of us probably never even think about.
Think about it. For most of us, the answer to this is so simple, right? We go home. We get to rest in our own bed. We've got food. We have a safe space. We just focus on getting better.
And that is the question that changes everything. It exposes this massive, critical gap in care. If you're discharged from a hospital with nowhere to go, how can you possibly heal properly? It's a huge, almost impossible barrier to recovery.
Okay, so now let's zoom in and see how one specific property in Fresno is being completely transformed to address this very problem, to provide a real answer to that incredibly difficult question. And let me be clear, this is not just a small change or a fresh coat of paint. This is a fundamental shift in what this building is all about. It's moving from being a temporary roof over someone's head to delivering specialized healthcare support for some of the community's most vulnerable people. This timeline gives you a really clear picture of how this property has adapted over the years. You can see it started as a motel, then it became an emergency shelter, and now it's evolving again into something even more targeted. It's really a story of a community asset that keeps changing to meet the most pressing needs. And we're not talking about some tiny pilot program here. With 80 units, this facility has the scale to make a real significant and immediate difference for dozens and dozens of people at a time. So, this new program, Taking Over Journey Home, what is it exactly? Let's break down this term, recuperative care, and figure out what it actually means in practice.
Putting it simply, it's a very specific, targeted intervention. Think of it like a bridge. It's designed to span that incredibly dangerous gap between being discharged from a hospital and having to try and recover out on the streets.
And here are the key pieces that make the whole thing work. It's a safe place to heal, sure, but it's also a launch pad towards long-term stability. And that last point, that is absolutely crucial. It's funded through healthcare plans. This totally reframes the issue. It treats post-hospital recovery not just as a housing problem, but as the critical health issue it really is.
But beyond all the logistics and funding models, what truly matters here is the direct, profound impact this is going to have on the people it serves. That's the whole point.
This quote from Fresno Housing CEO Tyrone Roderick Williams it hits the nail on the head. It's not just about four walls and a roof. It's about restoring a person's dignity and creating a real pathway forward when they are at their absolute most vulnerable. So you see, there's this incredible dual benefit. For the patient, it's a real chance to actually recover their health. But for the whole community, for the healthcare system, it helps break that expensive, inefficient cycle of repeat hospitalizations that happens when people are just sent back to the streets with no support. It's a win-win.
So how did they pull all this off? Well, this whole transition was made possible by a really clever partnership model that maximizes the benefit for everybody involved.
Okay, so check this out. This chart lays out exactly how the partnership works. You've got Fresno Housing, who owns the property and focuses on the big picture housing mission. And then you have RH Community Builders, who are experts in this kind of support, stepping in to run the specialized day-to-day program.
It's a brilliant strategic move. It keeps this valuable community asset in service to those who need it most. Each organization gets to play to its own strengths, which creates a much more effective and sustainable solution than if either one tried to do it all by themselves.
All right, so let's step back for a second and look at why this local story, this one project in Fresno, actually has a much, much broader significance.
What we're seeing here is a critical shift in thinking. Instead of just putting a Band-Aid on the problem with general emergency services, the community is moving towards specialized, healthcare-focused interventions that can actually break those devastating cycles of crisis, hospitalization, and homelessness. It's simply a smarter, more compassionate way to do things. And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. This partnership in Fresno isn't just solving a local problem. It could be a blueprint for other cities.
It shows how public agencies and specialized service providers can team up to create these innovative solutions that are not only more cost-effective, but more importantly, are just deeply, fundamentally humane.